What's up, guys? NintendoCapriSun here, and welcome to the final Oops All Koroks episode. This will be the final one. By the time we're done with this, we'll basically have almost all of them. So, what kind of journals was I going to read for this one? Well, I didn't want to do something as depressing as the 2000 journal, so I thought I'd go back to 1998, because that was a pretty fun time in my life, and I went through this last weekend reading through them. So I've actually already read these, and kind of picked and choose about which ones I wanted to put in here, because it's a long-ass story, and some of them are really boring, and some don't even talk about Beverly at all. There's some where I rant about work and stuff. So, first, before I do anything, I'm just going to give you a little cast list here of who's all in this so-called movie, or whatever you want to call it. There's me, there's my sister Mary, there's my mom, and then there's Steve, my stepdad at the time. They were both very unhappy in that marriage. Then there's Brian and Chris. They were kind of on the side. And then there was Crystal. Sorry if I sound different. I'm doing this in post because I forgot to mention her. She was a girl I had a crush on before Beverly kind of took over next year. But she's not really in these stories. She was a girl I hadn't seen in literally 2 years, and I was just kind of obsessed with her, and it's not healthy. And I was obsessed with this idea of her coming back, which never happened, you know, so there's that. So basically, I met Beverly back in like May of 1997. I saw her one time. We sat around the kitchen table talking. At first, when I first met her, I didn't really know anything about her, but around the fall, when she started coming around the house, this is also when I found out that her parents and her sister like to sometimes kind of beat up on her. And at the time, I was I would say extremely sensitive to that kind of thing, but there was nothing I could do about it. So sometimes I would lay in bed and I'd just be so worried about her, and I just barely knew who this girl was. So I know I've mentioned before that I did have a crush on her back then, but that didn't really come along until the following year. Part of the reason for that is because at the time I was 21 and she was 17. She was still in high school with my sister. So November 3rd, 1997, let's do this. So I'm in here taping Green Day's faces to the bodies of Jewel, Cameron Diaz, and Daisy Fuentes. And I'm also dreading this family conversation Mom wants to have tonight. I don't know what she wants to talk to us about, but it's probably some crap about cleaning and stuff. Okay, so November 5th, 1997. I just went outside to pee, and her car's gone. Oh god, please don't let her parents be mad. Another thing I listened to repeatedly on that tape of her blabbing, this was a tape of Beverly talking, I guess? I don't know how I got that tape, but, was the way she screamed when her mom came busting into the room saying, "Beverly, get off the phone and do your work!" Even after Beverly agreed, her mom's like, "Now!" And Bev's like, okay, okay. It doesn't take too much deception to convince yourself that she's relieved the woman's not coming in to hit her. Because I will tell you, she sounded terrified when her mom first busted in. I know she was scared. She must be scared now, going to that place she has to call home. I think it's so sweet the way she actually calls our mom, Mom. For the first time in her life, she has parents who actually care about her and talk nice to her. Oh god, please let her parents just leave her alone. She needs to sleep. Man, I need to sleep, I know. November 6, 1997. Let's see, I went to Eckerd and got some film. So I carried the bag and decided to walk over to Publix rather than drive. Okay, so Publix is where Beverly was working at the time. Anyway, so I'm walking up to Publix and suddenly I see Beverly and that Susan girl they've been bringing over coming the other way. Anyway, I looked over at her and then finally she looked back. I raised my hand and waved. She said, hey, and I think I said hey back. I told her I was going to check out Blockbuster. Yeah, there was like a new Blockbuster that had just opened there too. I was going to check out Blockbuster and she's like, Blockbuster's open? I'm like, yeah. The next thing I remember was when she asked me if she could borrow, well, let me quote her words. "I'm out of money, Darius. Do you have some money I could borrow so we could run over to Mickey D's? I'm so hungry I haven't eaten anything all day." I really started to feel bad for her. Fortunately, the film didn't eat up all I had because I was buying camera film, yeah. I had a 10 and 2 ones, praise God, so I said, here, will 10 be enough? And she was grateful. She was like, I'll pay you back tomorrow. No, first she said, thank you, you are so nice. I went over to Blockbuster, it kicked ass, Aladdin was on the TV. Aladdin was like, I can't tell Jasmine the truth that I'm not a prince. It's funny I didn't mention the part about where he says, tell her the truth! November 7th, 1997. I finally got my paycheck this week, today a Friday. I wanted to go to Best Buy, but lately I just don't want to go anywhere. I guess that's okay, though, because I got bills to pay anyway. I owe $44.13 on 2 CDs I don't even want. That Rod Stewart and Heart Greatest Hits. I haven't even listened to Soundgarden yet. Ugh. I also wore I Love Publix today. I thought at first that it would be corny, and I wasn't about to do it, but then I thought, well, someone from OCHS might see it and say something about it. Yeah, because there was like I Love Publix pins they were handing out, and I got one of them somehow. Anyway, but I wore it anyway. I tried to take a pic of myself wearing it. The first one, you couldn't see the button, but at least I looked cool. So at some point in the middle of this, I also found out that Beverly was like suicidal, but I wanted to do like anything in my power to make sure that she didn't do that. So I wrote her this stupid letter, and I still have it here. Like, I guess I made a copy of it or something. This looks like I actually wrote it, not ran it through a copying machine, but maybe I just rewrote it, I don't know. Anyway, it's pretty cringy, but I'll read you some of it. Like, I'm not gonna read the whole thing. It's only 2 pages, but I'm not gonna read the whole thing. It says, Beverly, I was gonna send you this note in a Christmas card, but damn it, I don't feel like waiting that long. If you were to see Kevorkian or something between now and then, I'd never forgive myself for waiting, so there you go. Kevorkian back then, I don't know if he's still popular now, I don't think he is, but he was like the doctor who did like a assisted suicide, and it was really controversial at the time, so that's what I meant when I said if you were to see Kevorkian, I meant if you were to... So is everything okay over your way? I know things could be better, I've been really worried about you, but there's something I think you should know no matter what anyone says to you or about you. It will never change one simple fact: you are a special person. Don't ever forget that. We all find our purpose in God. He loves you and he's proud of you. He should be. I know I would be. You're sweet, you're very courageous, you're funny as Frappuccino. I only want what's best for you, and it just doesn't look like you're getting what you deserve. I don't want to stand by and watch you pass on in despair. You have no idea how much I care about you. Okay, so November 14th, 1997. So there you have it. I wrote the letter as you just read it, put it in a plastic sandwich bag, and bailed at 4 o'clock. I went to the movies. I saw The Man Who Knew Too Little. It was really funny. Well, I never told you, but I took a paper clip through the bag and stuck it on her car. I hope she saw it. Mary doesn't seem to know about it. She's just in there acting normal. I don't even know if she had to work tonight, but if they were doing some kind of special, this is boring, I don't know. Mary probably wouldn't have even been here tonight. I hope Ev's okay, like emotionally sound. Well, actually, I want to check the driveway and make sure she didn't drive away without seeing it, or it blew off or something. Well, let me go check. Then I must tilt my son towards your domain and relinquish what's left. Don't ask me what that's supposed to mean. That's like 2 collective soul songs in one. November 15th. Dang it, why am I and Mary the only ones who care about Beverly? I can't believe she actually came out and said in front of Mom and Steve that her sister beats her every day of her life. What a bitch that girl must be. Every day? Did she beat her today? Like this morning? I know a lot of people say, just try not to think about it. Okay, fine. Try telling that to Beverly. Have you ever thought that maybe the problem was that nobody cares enough to let it bother them? I'm not letting it bother me just so I can say I care about Beverly. I let it bother me because ignorance is not a good defense. Now I admit there's not a whole lot I can do about her situation, but that doesn't mean the problem doesn't exist. I can't look at Beverly knowing that someone could actually look at her and hit her, and just accept that. There are some things that are just not right in this world, and dang it, if something like that were happening to me, I would want to know at least someone else wasn't fucking accepting it. But fine, let them lay their head on that pillow and take a deep breath and say, ah, the good old bed. Everything's okay. Fuck. Well, I got news. Everything is not okay. If it's not okay for Beverly, why should it be okay for me? Damn, dude. Alright. November 22nd, 1997. Happy birthday, Niagara. Wait, Niagara's birthday is November 24th, not the 22nd. What? They played Limelight by Rush on 96 Rock. I don't normally like them because they play ancient 70s hard rock crap like AC/DC and crap. Okay. But yesterday they played Limelight, so I decided to listen to Test for Echo today. But first let me tell you about last night. It sucked. My tooth kept me up forever. This is another thing that was happening. My teeth were rotting out, and it was getting really bad here. It was the worst. I tried salt water, Diet Coke, cold water, mouthwash. Even the 2 Tylenol I took around 8:30 or 9 never kicked in. So you know what I did around 10 or 11? I took 2 more. Then an Alka-Seltzer right behind it. In the end, that was the thing that put out the pain temporarily, but I did manage to grab about 4 hours of sleep. It was broken into several small segments because I know I got up at 12:41 or something, and then like 1:19. I had to keep peeing because I was drinking all that water. I'm sure I got up at least 10 times throughout the night. I could not get motivated this morning. I mean, I was so tired, I laid down after I got dressed. It was horrible. November 25th. Oh man, I feel so sick. I'm about to have a whole evening to myself and all I want to do is sleep. Mary and Beverly will be out here soon to get Mary's medicine, so I got a cross of gel, and how's it gonna be by third eye blind stuck in my mind. And now my tooth is hurting. I guess it wants to be one of those nights. Man, I just want to die. Thank God it's Thanksgiving, so school's out tomorrow, so tomorrow will be slow. Plus Issa will be there. Yes, Issa, I love him. I love him! Then Thursday is Thanksgiving Day, so we don't have to do lunch. Friday shouldn't be too terribly bad. Man, I feel like shit. I haven't felt this shoddy since yesterday at about 3 a.m. Anyway, I feel shoddy because all I've eaten today is 4 Reese's peanut butter cups, 2 sausage biscuits, about a gallon of Coke, and a half a bag of Doritos. Now 2 big greasy chicken thighs. Absolutely no veggies today. My body's real happy about that. Today was kind of fun at work. Ray asked me to draw 3 turkeys, and I'm like, okay. I've never drawn a turkey before, but the only clue I had was the commercial where the redneck is about to chop off the turkey until it hands him a Miller Lite, which gets him the head seat at the supper table. Anyway, she wanted 1 skinny one, a fat one, and a normal one, so I did myself as the normal one, and Beverly as the skinny one, and a fat fictional one. Oh well, I feel un poco mejor now. That means a little better. Oh, 11:27. This sounds like a rant. This looks like one of the rants here, because I'm underlining a word in the first sentence. You know what I need? A roll. That's it. But see, what does it get me? Trophies, plaques, certificates, awards. But that doesn't mean shit. Without love, you're as good as dead. But still, the point I'm trying to make is that I'm tired of just being a tag-along. I'm tired of being the little puppy that walks along by his master and is not involved at all in any interactions. I'm lonely because the only roles I play are things like the Duffs saying... the Duffs is the word I use to refer to our parents. We just call them the Duffs. I'm lonely because the only roles I play are things like the Duffs saying, oh, if you need help with algebra, he's the master. I can't tell you how sick I am of people knowing me as the human calculator, or the fastest fingers in the South. I mean, yeah, I'm proud of my abilities, but I am a person. I have deep feelings that rarely come out at all because, I mean, nobody cares. I got so much more to offer, but they don't know that, because I can't talk about it to them. That's why I wrote Bev that letter, you know, so she would know I'm not just a tag-along. I'm not always gonna be the one who sits and listens to everybody else talk, and throw in a yeah here and an I know it there. December 4th, 1997. Here we go. How far are we into this? Oh, jeez, okay. Today my tooth has been an absolute nightmare. At this point now, it takes approximately 10 minutes for it to go from good to bad. I don't know how long it would take to go from bad to good, because when it hurts, the last thing in my head is leaving it alone. This afternoon after I got home from walking, first day of that, it hurt and I sat there sloshing H2O, cold H2O, really cold H2O, salt H2O, Coke, granola bars, potato chips, spit. My tongue, just everything, and nothing was helping it. I sat there for like 20 or 30 minutes straight in solid, molten pain, struggling unsuccessfully to stop it. It wasn't until out of desperation I tried mouthwash that I even found the hint of a comeback, but I tell you, it sucked. When Bev and Mary got home, I wanted to be gone at Best Buy, but that tooth was gnawing away in there. It ain't doing what it's supposed to, I can tell you that much. But anyway, I was in there eating cinnamon graham crackers, yuck, which were stale and not working. Finally, I found the miracle cure, sugar itself. Just plain old sugar. That stopped it for an hour or so, but now even that ain't helping. I felt like crap when I was in there too. I was tired and I fell asleep to Super Mario 64, sort of. I mean, I was sitting there straight up and I closed my eyes for a minute or two. Okay, so today I get in the mail something addressed to Darius. Anyway, it looks like Mary put me into the pen pal research thing. Whatever, to tell you the truth, I see no harm in trying it, so I got a form ready to mail out. I might wait till after Christmas, though, in case Crystal decides to try anything. Oh well, so much for the afterglow. December 11th. 1997. So tonight, I went to Hallmark to get that card and then to Publix to get Coke and Reese's. I also went down to the magazine section so I could go straight across the registers and look. Beverly was walking the same direction as me, behind back where the baggers are, and when I found an open register, I dove in. Beverly said, "What's up, Darius?" before I even realized she had stopped. The cashier said 503. I gave her the 5 and started to throw a 1 in until I realized I may have had the 3. I did. I dropped 1 on the floor, but I got it to her. At this point, I realized the girl looked an awful lot like Crystal. Weird. I mean, she had glasses and everything. So when she handed me my receipt, I took it while Bev insisted on carrying the 12th pack of Coke. "Fine, be that way," was my response. And this is what I saw on the receipt. Turn over. And literally, I have the receipt taped to the paper here, and it says, "Crystal was your cashier today." Can you believe it? Absolutely insane. I got a last look at her before we left, but she seemed a little big to be Crystal Davis. It probably wasn't her, but it sure was a shock. Maybe a sign. Well, as we walked in the plot? Walked in the P lot, the parking lot, okay, and talked. Beverly talked about Mary's lack of sleep. She didn't get to sleep till 6:30 a.m., and then about her speeding ticket. She got a speeding ticket. She said she's in all kinds of shit. Hopefully not with her parents, that's all I can say. Alright, so this is a parody of Frosty the Snowman. It's called Splinter the Hoe Man. Splinter was somebody that Mary went to school with, I guess, so, I never met the guy, but anyway, it goes, "Splinter the Hoe Man is a very happy soul, with an 8-inch dick and a butt for a nose while his eyes make out with coal. Splinter the Hoe Man has a hairy bung, they say, but the inside scoop says he's made of poop because he smells like it every day." December 23rd, well, what do you know, 2 days till Christmas, and I don't even feel like writing. But I guess I'll tell you about last night. I decided to go to Best Buy and do a little shopping. So I left around 4:40, and I'm telling you, that traffic was insane. There were cars everywhere. You could hardly move. I didn't even bother to try pulling into Best Buy. I decided to go into the mall and then turn around. Well, at the mall, there were cars. Not people, cars. Backed all the way up the stupid thing, so I just parked at the mall and walked around. I found a card for Mom and Steve and one for Beverly. Beverly's is like, "Christmas is a season of miracles, that's why you're hearing from me." I don't really know if it implies that I'm the miracle or that she is. Anyway, so from the mall, I walked on over to Best Buy's, crossing a lot of cars, not people, cars. So I get over there and walk around. I found 2 movies for Mary, Short Circuit 2 and Robin Hood Men in Tights. And I got The Verve, Urban Hymns, and Bush 16 Stone. And Green Day, Nimrod. I mean, she doesn't want any of that shit, man. And that's where it ends. No, there's some on the back. Let me see, especially that Green Day boy. I also got Diddy Kong Racing, yeah! Then I'm gonna go to Blockbuster and get those movies, then go to the mall and get Steve a birdhouse or something. Fart Smash McButtnugget. It actually says that there. Oh, okay, here we go, January 1st. This is when Chris and Brian finally started coming to the picture. I'm not sleeping tonight. Why should I when I'm just gonna have to get back up again? Let me tell you, man, I feel great. Chris and Brian are so cool. Brian loves me. Let me go ahead and say that they are both very, 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 very angry at Beth's sister for the beating. I mean, I think the girl knows karate, which is that much worse for Beverly. But me and Chris and Brian all agree that if Beth's sister ever tries anything when we're around, we nail her ass. I can't tell you how happy I am to know that others feel the same way. Jeez, wow. And they're not just accepting it either. I mean, Mom's over all that serenity thing, that God grant me the serenity to accept blah blah blah, whatever, I'm sure you know it. But to me, it's not just what you can and can't change, it's what's right and what's wrong. If it's wrong, change it. If it's right, leave it alone. Stop sitting back and accepting what happens to Beverly, because as hard as it may be to believe it, it's not okay. Just because I may be unable to change it, doesn't make it okay. And me and Chris and Brian are determined to change it. See, that's where the wisdom to know the difference part comes in. Perhaps the reason I don't agree with the expression is because I don't know the difference. Huh. So then we went to Brian's house. No, okay, Brian's house? And we got him. His mom was real strict. I mean, she was totally mad. I sat and watched them argue. Eventually, she let him go. Bev was hiding in the car. I assume it was because Brian's mom didn't like her. Anyway, we head back to Bev so she can change out of her uniform. Well, we wound up staying at Bev's house forever. I looked around and went to the piano room and played Imagine on it. In the meantime, Bev was getting into heated competition with her mom on the phone. Her mom was saying there was a curfew and she insisted Beverly be home by midnight, even on New Year's Eve. Eventually, Chris and Brian got on and negotiated and got it to 12:30. We didn't get back until 12:39 anyways. But this first time at the house, me and Brian played Contra on the regular NES. I told him about the 30 lives code that he seemed surprised that I knew about, and we went through the whole game. This part is highlighted for some reason. I guess I went through these and like highlighted all the good parts. Yeah, I should have highlighted more stuff when I just read these last week. I should have done that. Anyway, I had the spread gun and I beat that wall in like 2 seconds. The dudes were floored. I started getting hyper and they said, "Look out, he's pissed now." I was like standing up the whole time. When they said I was pissed, I said, "Yeah, here goes Bev's mom," and I blew up some shit. They played right along. So I started jumping around and getting all energetic. I called the tank the C word, and Mary got very disgusted. Meet Darius. No, that's not Darius, dude. That's your fireside. We'll get into that later, if I get that far. A lot of times as we ran around downtown, the guys called me Darius Rucker. I liked it. Also on the way there, we got behind this big limo on the way there. When we watched the fireworks, I did my absolute best Vogue Miyagi Travolta dance moves to add some spice. Then at the end, I was playing Rocket on an imaginary guitar, and I made a grand jump and fell to the ground dead. Anyway, it was fun. Okay, January 2nd. Okay, I wrote this one at work because it's on one of the worksheets. Ray is my boss, by the way. Ray just asked me, and she's a woman. Ray just asked me if I watch Home Improvement. She says the show makes her laugh like crazy, and that it can even makes Robert laugh. That's her husband. Well, earlier she was talking about being married, and she said she's been married for 19 years. And this is to someone whom she openly admits doesn't laugh. I can't imagine being married to someone who doesn't laugh. And if you actually stopped your unreliable speed reading for long enough to imagine being with someone all the time who doesn't have a sense of humor, I think you'd agree with me when I say that Michael is right. Laughter is the key to true love. Michael is like a John Travolta movie. He says it in that movie. He says laughter is the key to true love. January 3rd, nice. 3 days off to look forward to. The second day, I do 4 to 9 at night, but what the hell? That'll be fun. Let's face it, if I don't have to get up, it's a day off. Today I've been reading for a change. Thought it would be good for me. Care to guess what I read? Here's a hint. It's not conspiracy theory. Aw, shit. This is where I read my sister's journal. Ugh. Yeah, I'm not gonna put any of this online. This is stupid. Try taping us and put it on The Real World on MTV. Not only would Beverly and Mary's beautiful faces bring in twice the usual viewer audience, but surely at least 85% of the viewers would see 2 couples and a single guy. I mean, I have absolutely no doubt that if I could watch myself in action for a day with my nasty-ass shoes, no socks, underwear, moonshine, and every single frickin' time I bend over, I would no doubt find myself putrid. See, this is the whole reason I don't want to have sex, because you could put me in bed with a naked girl and play with me for 2 hours straight. My dick will say soft as jello, but even mention Crystal's name and swing. I've had cops pull me over because they accidentally clocked the speed of my dick and not my car, even if I'm facing backwards. Wow. P.S. This pen has sucked. I thought you should know that. January 5th, 1998. Okay, I figured it out. I know it seems like every other day I come up saying I know what it is. What I want is this. I want to be hurt by love. Why do I feel like I've said that before? See, here's what I didn't know before. I've never been hurt by love. So first I fell in love with Pamela Haddon. She didn't seem to have a boyfriend, but she told me right out she liked me as a friend, that was all. Then there was Miss Oliver, my Spanish teacher, who was very attractive, but she was probably the sweetest girl I've ever known. Okay, so who's next? Rydia? Yeah, actually Jamie was next. That was a lot stronger than anything before it. We didn't get to interact worth a shit, but it got to the point where I think she knew about it. I never found out how she felt about it, but like Miss Oliver, I think she felt sorry for me. Then there was Rydia. This one was interesting because I was really worried about her. I worried about her more than I ever have Beverly. Anyway, Rydia passed along, and finally in 95 I met Crystal. She didn't care about me. I mean, it was a month, a week, and a day, then she left. That's all I've seen or heard from her. It didn't take me long to get over her, especially when the video to Ironic came out, so I was all head over feet for Alanis Morissette. I don't know what the hell all that crap was about. I never in my life believed that you could be in love with people you only see on TV. Says the guy who just talked about being in love with Rydia. And I didn't know that much about her as a person. What I did know wasn't that fascinating to me. Anyway, so later in the year, Marty Engstrom came along with her daughter Samantha. Sam and I had more in common than most of my other girlfriends did. Like Alanis. Our love of her, that is. Anyway, I did what I could. I tried to be nice, and I know she appreciated it, and she was equally nice to me. If she did know I liked her, she was a lot more passive about it. 1997 started off shitty, with Sam leaving, my teeth screwing around, and the resurfacing of Crystal, which actually started in October 96. Huh. Are you confused yet about the timeline of this? Because I am, and I lived it. I had a wild imagination, so the most interesting things that happened for the first half of 97 happened in my imagination. By April, I was about to send Sam a birthday card, but I didn't. I was pretty much over her. But when Sam left and Crystal continued to ignore me, all it took was Earthbound and Collective Soul, and Dina was it. Well, she left just as I was starting to fall for her. Good move. But she couldn't get away without being slammed by a birthday card and a Foo Fighters CD. Nice. So after all this, you might say I've had a hard time. Nope. I've still never been hurt by love. You know why? Because I didn't lose anything in any of those relationships. Relationships, boy, what a load of dump. But still, I never had anything to lose, so I didn't lose anything. I didn't lose anything, so I've never been hurt by love. And I'm getting a little tired of it. I'd rather be hurt by love than to be with this emptiness any longer. At least then I wouldn't be a social virgin. Damn, he's going for it. Going for the jugular, baby. Alright, am I like halfway through these already? I think just about. January 18th, 1997. Well, some people can be so darn stupid. Somebody ran over Issa's foot with a forklift or something, so he's not going to be able to come to work for a few weeks. Man, that sucked. Yeah, those 2 weeks sucked, let me tell you. Oh well, so later today I'm sitting playing Illusion of Gaia, and Steve said something about loving Mom with all his heart, and Mary said something like, as opposed to loving with your head. If I had been thinking, I would have popped back with which one. January 20th, 1998. Mom's in there sweating out a call from First Commerce Bank right now. This money crap is just going every which way but loose, and they haven't been themselves since it started. Constantly bickering or even just plain talking about it. I came home last night at 11 o'clock, and there they are on the couch and love seat. I just scurried on back to my room to go for some Z's. Fortunately, they weren't talking as loud as normal, but let me just put it this way. I was up at 11:30 peeing in a cup because I didn't want to go out to the bathroom because I didn't want to hear them. Plus, I was sort of afraid they would hear me and try to call me in there. As far as giving them advice, I mean, what do you say? It's like, well, there's not really much you can do. I mean, duh. I'm not gonna come up with no secret way out of this. And Steve's obsessions, from grills to fishing rods to tool chests to tools to parts for the Jimmy is their car, to models to bowling balls. Yeah, he's done his share with his spoiled ass. Mom's the one who always winds up paying the price, but oh well, she'll be queen of the hill in heaven. And I'll be rotting in hell for all my bad attitudes about the human population in general, all my masturbating, all my lusting, all my pride that comes every time I admit all this. I guess if Mom thinks I deserve to go to heaven, then maybe she knows better than I do. I mean, I want to help people. I want to protect Crystal, make Bev feel better about herself, keep Susan's life fair, tell Sherry she's pretty, make Liz's life more exciting. But nobody wants me to do any of this for them, so I just sit back and wish I could. Oh well, I'm gonna smack my pud. See ya. And then I left a note when I read it later on, saying, hope it feels really good. So some of those names there, Susan, that was the other girl I mentioned briefly earlier. Like, I remember Mary talking about her once and saying that her biggest flaw was that she thought the world should be fair. So that's why I said that, keep Susan's life fair, even though I never talked to that girl. I literally talked to her like 3 times in my life. Sherry? I don't remember who that is. It's not Sherry like the bakery manager. Liz was the DJ on Magic 102, the Alan and Liz show. January 25th. Let's see, what album title best describes my life today? Lemon Parade? Nah, that was the 23rd. Anyway, about today. Well, I'll tell you the first half first. I walked into the living room to see Mary and Brian together and Beverly leaning on Chris. We were watching House Arrest on HBO. Occasionally when I glanced over at Beverly and Chris, I could tell she was giving him more attention than he was giving her. Anyway, I guess I wasn't the only one who noticed Chris's ignorance of her, because when they went back to Mary's room after Chris left, Beverly laid on her bed and started crying about 10 minutes into Dangerous Minds. When Brian saw her crying, he went right over me and started talking to her himself, saying that nothing was wrong, but she insisted Chris was not showing her enough love. Brian said it's okay, I know Chris. Yeah, well, she knows him too. Maybe he's not fulfilling her needs, you know? Well, Bev continued crying for another half hour or so, then when she got quiet, I figured she was asleep. I slowly reached over, laid my hand on her head, and started gently massaging it, just letting my fingers run through her hair. I did massage her straight through the rest of the movie. I even let myself be late for work for the first time in 2 years and 2.5 months, just so I could finish watching Dangerous Minds and keep comforting her. Anyway, I didn't get in trouble for being late to work. Nobody else does, so why should I? Wow, this is a bit of a time jump. What are we at? January 25th to December? No, to February 13th. Well, looky there, I started writing for a half hour and only got one. You know what? I'm being watched. Okay. But the moment I get busy dipping up some chicken, here comes one. Just shows how much better they like to interrupt when I'm doing something than when I'm not. God, I dread the lunch punch. I can't deal with this today. Oh, don't you mean I'm not in the mood for this shit today? Much less any other day. One other thing I never told you about that I meant to tell you about was that Brian came here. Man, what was that crazy glasses-wearing, pot-pool-playing, filter-hat-wearing, third-eye-blind Everchair, I'm only pretty sure, squinting, couch-dancing, chewing, radio-fidgeting, storytelling, skinny, big car, Michael Weeds, smoking, quitting, crazy idiot doing here? February 22nd, 1998. No sense in waiting till I get home to tell you about this. I'm here at the store on this lovely Sunday. Right now, I was just calling to say Brian and Beverly and Mary and Chris came by just now, and Bev didn't look so happy. I gave her a wave and a dorky look, and she forced a smile back, but she seemed like she was tormented about something. Anyway, Mary gave me one last crazy wave before they left, but not before noticing the look of concern I gave to Bev, who was pretty much zombified the whole time. That's the last I've heard from her except for this that happened today. Anyway, last night the two couples both had sex. Chris and Bev in her bed, Brian and Mary in the bathroom. I did it with Mega Man, Part 5. And I heard someone's heavy breathing, definitely a girl. Anyway, I'll tell you more later. I don't have a date on this one. Henuo, well, today has supposed to be a big day for me. Well, let's just say it hasn't been crap. The person who wanted to see me today was Janelda. Anyway, the reason she wanted to see me was that they are offering to let me be the deli manager of number 55, this store down by the bowling alley that only does about $300 of business a day. I'll be by myself every single day, but hey, 3 batches of biscuits every day? I'll go for that. And also, we don't do 8-piece chicken, we just do breastises. The only drawback is that we'll do pizza. Pizzas suck. But hey, for $7 an hour, who's complaining? I buy myself Sunday too, but that shouldn't be too bad. Then Monday it starts. 4 to 2 every day except Saturday 4 to 12, and it's closed on Sundays. As far as the working out situation, yeah, I started working out at some point in here. As far as the working out situation, things are looking pretty good. I got down to 187 pounds today from a whopping 195 start. I started at 189 this morning, and I would drink Coke, just a few sips, which had caffeine, which got my kidneys on overdrive, so I kept pissing, losing about a half a pound each time. Well, by the time I got done it 3 or 4 times, I lost 2 pounds. Just now, while watching Rocky Horror Picture Show with Weeds and Mary. Weeds is like Brian's nickname. I ate 2 big hunks of Velveeta cheese, and I'm currently gulping my second can of cold, icy Coca-Cola Classic. I'm back up to 188. You know how Beverly burned all those Chris's the other day? She had a bunch of papers that said Chris's name on them, and she, like, burned them. I guess as, like, a way of just removing him from her life or something. Anyway, well, for no particular reason, I slipped one of the Chris's into my pocket. I couldn't possibly imagine at that time how I would need it for anything. Well, I didn't know that when she was gonna go back to Daryl. Oh, I didn't even mention this part. Daryl was, like, Beverly's boyfriend, but they were long distance. I heard somewhere that he proposed to her when she was 14, so, like, ugh. Okay. Yeah, that is kind of a big piece of the puzzle. I'm surprised I forgot to mention that. March 11th, 1998. Here goes. Let's see. There's a lot highlighted here, so, today's gonna be a long, boring day. First of all, I don't have a ride home because Weeds wrecked my car yesterday. I took the blame because he didn't have a license on him. He kept apologizing yesterday. He feels really bad about it. He thinks I'm pissed at him. I totally hurt Mom's feelings yesterday, too. It's like she and Steve were talking about his hours and how he shouldn't have to work so many and all this. And I went to put on My Sexual Life by Everclear, and about 1.5 seconds into it, Mom says, no music, I can't take it right now. And I just totally popped off. I was like, that's why I'm moving out, because I'm sick of you guys talking about money all the time. She stormed right out the door. I think that's about the worst thing I've ever said to her, which shows what a marshmallow I have been. If I had asked for my driver's license when I was 16, and joined clubs in high school and got a job sooner and had friends to play with and deal with, Mary wouldn't be so difficult by comparison, because she wants to do it right. But Mom and Steve had it easy with me because I didn't ask for shit. I didn't do anything when I was in high school. I had no obligations, I never got mad before. Well, guess what? I'm not ignoring it anymore. I'm just saying what I think. That's what Judge Judy does, but I can't do it because she's not used to me doing it. Oh well. I'm not scared to be a real person anymore and react the way normal people react to situations. I'm no longer a vegetable. I've got to come alive, spread my wings, and fly. And ain't nobody gonna shoot me down. They can just be jealous or whatever, but saying how I feel is no longer a threat to my peace of mind. It's time for people to see where they're wrong and how utterly and totally right I am, as I have always been. See ya. Wow! Holy shit, dude! March 12th, 1998. I got to see Bev Ayer. She dropped by while I was playing Earthbound alone in the living room. Weeds and Mary were asleep or something. I was like, I'm coming up on the monster that burps. And she's like, the monster that burps? Hey, I've been there. Then I asked her if she had heard about my wreck. She said, yep. Her dad told her, because he drove by while we were out there. He even checked on us. How sweet. Anyway, she left. Well, about 10 minutes later, I get up to get something, and on the counter, there's this large blue envelope with Darius on it. I didn't remember getting any mail, so I just picked it up and peeked in. All I saw was, made especially heart for you by Beverly. Yes, the heart was there. Anyway, without opening it, I just took it and went and sat back down with it and played Earthbound some more. Was it a birthday card? No, too soon. Then how about a thank you note for that $25 I left her the other day, maybe? Anyway, I brainstormed a little while, and when I couldn't stand it a second longer, I took the card, stuck it in my sweater, held myself to hide it, and walked it back down to the dock. Then I opened it. What it was a really nice card saying, well, you know, thank you for all your kindness and for believing in me. It was so sweet, and so I know now that indeed I do mean something to her. I don't know why I'm not jumping all around. I got this nagging thought in my head, what if Weeds told her to do that for me? I mean, suppose one of these times he was in my room and he went and read some of my diaries about Beverly not appreciating me. Well, some of those aren't here because I haven't seen any here. Okay. Maybe I threw some away or something. So if he saw that and told Bev what I said, then maybe she felt like she had to do that. I should just ask him straight up if he told her to do it, and if by some miraculous chance he didn't tell her to, then you know what that means. Heaven only knows what else he's seen. PSI Beverly on my Earthbound game, for example. Anyway, I got the card here at work with me. I'm so happy to know I mean something to her. Man, the truck is here already. It's only 8 o'clock. Boy, I love this store. Anyway, earlier a customer ordered ham and egg, and one of the other guys standing there said ham and leg. What the heck was he talking about? I don't know, but he sure was funny. Well, see ya. I drew a picture of them. Oh man, maybe I should post this picture. Oh, future self, sorry about giving you more work to do. Henuo, this is me, Timothy Bishop, on March 19th, 1998. Earlier today we had a water balloon fight. Me and Bev were on one team, and Weeds and Chris were on another team, and Mary was just kind of with those two duffs. And at one point, they were about to pour a pitcher of H2O on Bev, and I stopped the pitcher right over her head and tried to turn it around on Mary. When it poured, I was sure it got on Mary. Or right, next thing I remember was Beverly getting totally soaked. So I didn't really help as much as I wanted to, but at least I don't think Bev blamed me for it. Anyway, we went in and I changed. Bev didn't have anything to change into, so I got a bath towel after I was dressed and brought it out for her and put it on her head like a nun. She said thank you, Darius, and just suddenly she opened it up and we just hugged each other. It happened so quick that I hardly even knew it was happening, and when it did happen, I was just like, oh wow, I just hugged her. Then it was over, just like that. But at least now I can say I did it. Anyway, well, at Eckerd's I also spent about $60 on those little cameras to take pics with. Some of Brian and Mary, a few of Chris, a few of Beverly, also some Buddy in there, that was our dog, Buddy. One of me playing Earthbound, courtesy of Weeds. Good job, Weeds. Those were my favorite pics, the ones of me where I didn't know anyone was taking a picture. This way the pic shows my life when I'm not setting anything up to impress the pic's viewer, you know? March 22nd, 1998, Sunday morning, around 2 a.m. Wow. I've come to the most amazing conclusion tonight. It goes against everything I've ever believed before, but I am madly in love with Chris. I've never felt this way before in my life. Wow. Okay, just joking. Call it early April Fools, but I gotta tell you, I've never in my life had as much respect for a guy as I have for Chris. Earlier tonight, me and him went through and watched our tape of us performing, and I could tell he was watching me a lot of the time on TV, because he always laughed when I did something funny. I'm not used to that kind of attention. Yeah, we made all those videos of ourselves playing the instruments pretending to play, but actually playing the song out of a radio. Oh geez, okay, today has been the most thrilling day in the world, man. I don't have a date on this one either. It must be between March 22nd and March 31st though, so whatever. Anyway, Beverly stayed for about 5 minutes, and then when she and Chris left for Rafferty's, Mom and Weeds and Mary talked to me for a nice long time about liking Beverly. They talked about basically the same thing I've been saying in my diary, why do I do all these favors for her, and then she just goes over and leans on Chris, and Chris is trying to get away from her. They pretty much had me convinced, but if they expect me to think Beverly's being manipulative, then how am I supposed to just automatically know that they're not being manipulative themselves? At least Beverly's not so confident. Plus, she has the handicap of being alone. I don't know whose side Chris is on, but anyway. Well, at 6 o'clock we decided to eat at Waffle House. I also gave Mom this big hug, kind of to thank her for the advice. Anyway, we get to the bowling alley, and at the door, Charlie and Jane are like, Bev and Chris are here, you might want to turn around and leave. I was like, hell, let's just go in anyway. We're not going to let them keep us from having our fun. Yeah, there's starting to be some drama here, I tell you. So anyway, in the game room we played pool side by side, then Bev went outside, and later on we left and she was still out there. Couldn't help but smile as I watched her dancing around. Mary was like, and I thought I had no life. Anyway, somehow in the middle of our conversation, me and Beverly got to talking about this, and Beverly ended up giving me almost the exact same speech that Mom gave me. She told me that she didn't want to see me hurt. What makes her speech so much like Mom's is not just that she said she didn't want to see me hurt, but that she also said that Weeds was a manipulator too. And well, she had a point. I mean, every time he asked me to buy him cigarettes, I do it. I don't consider that to be using me, and by the same token, I don't think Bev is using me either. But just before she finally left, she gave me this one answer I was looking for in my diary earlier today, the thing that I could say to Mom to get her off of Beverly's back. She reminded me that it was Weeds who was driving when we had the car accident, and she said that she and Chris are seriously considering telling my mom about that. And that indeed would be the ultimate act of using, since to Mom that seems to be the ultimate sin. I took the blame for that wreck, and anytime I wanted to, I could totally nail them with that one. On the other hand, Weeds called me his best friend earlier today, so man, what the hell am I gonna do? Anyway, after Bev was done, she was getting into her car, and I stopped her at the last second and hugged her. That's actually when I said thank you. So I haven't dropped a ball on Beverly yet, but I was fucking close, wasn't I? March 31st, 1997. Yesterday was a good day. I got off, came home, played Earthbound. Weeds arrived about 3:05, just in time to let me know. Bev was bringing Mary home, so I wouldn't have to do it in that car. Yay. Oh, in that car. Yeah, because they got me this car, and it was like, ugh. Anyway, the phone rings, and Mom's like, you watch, that'll be Steve wanting me to go pick him up. Instead, it was Beverly wanting me to give her some tips on mischief makers. I couldn't remember the part she was on, though, and I said, man, I wish I was over there so I could, and she's like, come over. I'm like, can I? 15 minutes later, there I was with her in the basement, guiding her through it, eating french fries with her. Before we could even break into any deep conversation, though, her phone rang. Hello? Yes, he is. It was Weeds and Mary wanting me to come home because Mom and Steve were at each other's throats. So I only stayed about 2 minutes longer. I left when she was playing dodgeball with the cat. I didn't want to, but since it was Mary asking and not their dumbasses, I considered it someone important this time. On the way home, the car stalled just before Hillcrest, and I coasted onto Hillcrest, then I pushed it into the ditch, grabbed everything that was important to me, and walked the rest of the way home. Yeah, that car gave me so many problems, man. I don't know. It was like a 1980 Honda something, and I guess they bought it for me for like $400 or something after, you know, the other one got wrecked, so. But that other one wasn't my car. That was Mom's car. She was just letting me use it, so that's what made it even worse. Anyway, it was quite dark. I was carrying the soundtrack to Annie and instructions to Yoshi's Story. I accidentally left a diary and a pic of Hi and Nye looking depressed in the car. It was a nice walk. I'm actually glad I got the chance to do it. Anyway, so the moral of the story is Bev is my best friend, and if I can concentrate on just being a friend and not Prince Dream Lover or whatever, at least then our feelings will be equal and mutual. And as far as the love growing, well, I got 4 words for you. My best friend's wedding. Okay. Wow, that was another big time jump. March 30th and now April 20th. Hello, I never told you about my weekend with Beverly. Saturday she called wanting help on Mischief Makers and said she'd come pick me up, so I got ready to go. I quit Final Fantasy 3 for it. What did we do Saturday anyway? We rented Rocket Man and watched it, then we ate at Mickey D's and Taco Bell. No, it was KFC Taco Bell, all in one building. I got a chicken sandwich, Bev got a couple of Taco Supremes. Then we went and got married, and the three of us went to Bev's and we watched Annie. It kicked butt. Anyway, Bev invited me to come with her to her church Sunday morning. She also said to dress nice. Uh-oh. So Sunday morning I'm playing Diddy Kong Racing in my nice black and white sweater with a white short sleeve collar under it and the slacks. Anyway, we went to her church, and when it was over, she practiced on the piano in there after we toured the church waiting for everyone to leave. Anyway, we left. Also, I meant to say it was raining too, so we got to walk together under an umbrella. Her parents bitched her out big time for not cleaning out her car. Jeez, they were mean. At what point I was out waiting in her car while she was inside fighting with her dad. I thought for sure it would get physical. Actually, I wouldn't know if it had. Still though, anyway, we went to the Bally. Oh, bowling alley. I just wrote Bally, B-A-L-L-E-Y. And played pool. I did some cool shots, too. One time it was like this, and I got a little drawing explaining it, whatever. Mom came in and told us not to come back to our house because everyone else said they would be uncomfortable. Go figure. I don't give a fuck, though, because Beth said let's go to the movies. So we decided to go see Species, too, but long lines and rain changed our minds real quick. So we just decided to walk around the mall. We ate at Sbarro's. I was like, I haven't eaten all day, and of course, I knew she hadn't either, except for the bread in the church. I brought that up too. Then later, as we were eating, I had a sword fight with two straws, left hand versus right hand. I told Bev about how I used to do it with pencils in school, and she said she did the same thing, but she named them. I was like, well, I didn't go that far, and she laughed. So anyway, we went to World of Science, and I bought these cool-ass Men in Black shades for myself, and some eyeball shades for Bev. And after that, I guess we went home, and she and Mom and Steve watched Rocket Man. So I don't know what happened, why they were suddenly getting along again here, but I felt like being alone then, so I passed up a chance to sit with Bev and watch it again for Diddy Kong Racing. Then a little later, I thought, I bet now Bev and Mary are on the left seat. Then I thought, well, Brian's here, maybe not. Sure enough, when I went in, Mom and Steve on the couch, and Bev all alone on the left seat, so I turned it around and decided to sit next to her. I played some guitar. She left about 1¼ hours into it, because she was supposed to be home at 5 anyways, and it was 7 when she left. So I guess her parents were mad as hell. Anyway, I wrote her last night. I just about fell asleep writing it because I didn't know what to put. Anyway, she got the letter because she called me tonight and talked to me for like 30 to 45 minutes. While I was out there on the back porch, I saw Pixie. Well, Pixie was our cat, by the way. So I saw him run out, and I didn't give up Bev to run and get him because I figured he wouldn't go far. Well, now he's gone, and I'm the only one who knows he's outside. Stupid cat. I can't tell them, though, because then they'll be like, oh, Beverly wouldn't let him off the phone to go get Pixie or whatnot, and I'm not going to help them wrap themselves in this damn conspiracy. Oh, one more thing. The $100 I gave her for her birthday, it went to the down payment on Daryl's engagement ring. Isn't it ironic? Oh my god. Conference, everybody. Update. This is April 25th. I have some answers. Does Beverly know about my crush on her? Yes. So let me tell you how I came up with these answers. One day about a week ago, my micro recorder was sitting on the seat of my car when I got into it at 3:30 a.m. Anyway, I listened to about 10 seconds of it, and sure enough, it was Mary and Beverly talking about Chris and Brian. I drove on into work, and when I got off, I drove home, and when I got home, I reached for the recorder, and that thing was slap gone. I figured Brian stopped by and got it out of there, so I figured there must be something really juicy on there. Anyway, I forgot about it, and then about 2 days ago, I happened to glance into the back seat, and there was the micro recorder. It was a beautiful sight indeed. So guess what I just finished listening to, that tape. Anyway, here's what Beth said. Quote, I had a really good time with Darius this weekend, unquote. Then on one other part they were dissing Chris or something, and Beverly said, I'd rather be with Darius than with Chris. Then the best part of all, they got to talking about me again, and Bev said this. Some of the best times I've had lately have been with Darius. He's just like so awesome. I mean, I love Darius. And she said I love Darius really slowly, too. After that, Mary reassured Bev that I am about over her, too. You got that right, I guess. He still likes you, though. On a scale of 1 to 10, I'd say the value of this conversation was about an 8.5, baby. Most of our conversations are 4, 5, maybe 5.5, and 6 tops, so 8.5 is really something. So Beverly knows I still like her. Oh, Mary also said he's still hoping for a miracle, too. Oh, is this the Diddy Kong Racing Day? Oh, boy. Okay, this is also April 25th, apparently. I guess I wrote both of these on the same day. This is totally feels like a different day here. April 25th. Man, this really sucks. Today was my big day. And what have I been doing? Waiting. That little 7-letter word answers all your questions right there. That is what has constituted at least 90% of my life, is waiting. Whether it's for a job interview, or in this case, just a simple phone call. Well, Mom went into work at Publix at 11:30, and Steve asked me if I wanted to go bowling. I didn't really want to, because, you know, I was waiting for Bev to come by. But then I guess this is the day we were planning on going to the movies, and then we didn't. So we left, and I left this totally freaky note, and we bowled. Then when we got back, they hadn't come by after all, so I sat down and played Diddy Kong Racing while Steve fished. And 4 hours passed. I listened to DC Talk, Smash Mouth, and Cake. Still no one came by. Now it's 6, probably 6:15 now. The 7 o'clock movies are about to start, and I haven't heard a damn thing from either of those two. Okay, and then it cuts off here and it says, okay, I'm back. Mom sure doesn't seem too worried about them. She says they were just down at Publix a little while ago. So indeed, they haven't gotten into a wreck or anything, thank goodness. Mom was saying this morning that Beverly didn't sound so thrilled about Species 2. Which, I know I just said we went to see that. Oh, we were gonna see it and then we stopped because of the rain that day. Yeah, okay. So we were gonna go again later. Anyway, she says she didn't sound so thrilled about Species 2, so she read some reviews on it, and people are saying it's really bad, so I guess she changed her mind and decided she didn't want to see the movie after all. No one told me anything except Mom saying that she was not so enthusiastic about the movie, so I hope the movie is the reason she changed her mind and not me. We were gonna go, I planned on it, and I sat in there from 11 a.m. to 6 p.m. waiting, and now it's too late to go to the 7 o'clock show. So I guess we're just gonna do it next weekend or something, hopefully. I just wish they would have called me and told me we weren't going to do it today, so I wouldn't have sat there sulking all day playing that stupid-ass game. I'm so sick of that game right now, I wouldn't play it unless you paid me to. And the game, of course, is Diddy Kong Racing, but man, every time I play that game, even to this day, I think about that day. April 26, 1998. Dad and Deborah came to visit. He brought me Contra 3. Yes, baby! And we talked about guitar and stuff. The business with me and Chris and Brian being in a band is getting more and more realistic, especially now that we've recruited a drummer, Jason Burns. Man, what does that crazy earring-wearing, heartthrob, verve pipe, bacon and cheese, fast-driving, pea, headbanging clown think he's doing? Yes, I love Jason. April 27th, 1998. This is the first time I've ever gone to Bev's house and actually wished afterwards that I had stayed home. I mean, you can only watch your crush get affectionate with dogs and other girls right in front of you, knowing how it must make you feel so many times before you just lose it. I think since Beverly knows now that I'm getting over it, she thinks it doesn't bother me to see that anymore. I mean, she was on that dog like a fly on fruitcake. I said I wasn't capable of being pissed at Bev. I'm not pissed now, but that fact is becoming more questionable. You know what else? I haven't been being very nice to Mary lately either. I mean, she tries as hard as she can not to act like she enjoys when Bev grabs her by the arms and tries to get her to dance or whatever. I think she knows it makes me jealous, so she pretends to not enjoy it. Looks to me like Mary cares more about how I feel than Bev does. Okay, May 2nd. May 2nd, 1998. We're almost up to the part where I get the web TV. Boy, is that gonna suck. Bev was just over here with Katie and she woke me from my nap. Hey, Darius. But she was whispering. When I finally got up and got dressed and answered the door, she's like, where's Mary? I should have just slammed the door and went back to sleep. Maybe when I get out there and find a girl or two who will actually respond to my elite greatness, then I'll have had plenty of practice. My god, dude. I'm not gonna let this Beverly situation make me think that what I do is not good enough. When she finds a guy who will give her $25 out of the blue and give her $100 for her birthday and tell her, albeit by letters, that her hair is pretty, or imply that the sun comes out when she steps outside, or walk through stores with her wearing sunglasses, or trust her to drive his car, or give her shoulder massages, or write "I hope you are okay" at the end of email messages, and actually listen to what she says and not complain about Phantom of the Opera or Tiny Toons music, and sketch pictures of her and hang them on his bulletin board, and watch out the window for her to drive up and actually admit that he's proud to be with her when they're out in public, then she can come back and tell me I'm not good enough. Damn. That part was highlighted. Okay, May 14th, 1998. Henuo. I took down about half of my room last night. I'm not really that anxious to move out, but I am anxious to get all the work done that'll need to be done. It all seems kind of pointless, but I do know I will have another room when I get to Dad's place that I can spiff up any way I like. Holy crap. So this is when we were about to move in with Dad, but we didn't. And he was in Wisconsin. Eventually we did move in with him, but that wasn't until 6 months later, so yeah, so I guess this was the first time that we thought we were leaving. As for Bev, she and I talked on the phone for a couple minutes the other night. She couldn't come with us to see Deep Impact the other night. I don't know how much she would have enjoyed it, though. The movie's more for sensitive people. Jeez. Shots fired? Like me and Jason. See, that's why I'm in love with Jason. Just kidding. You should have seen me in the theater. Weeds and Mary went in front while Chris and I peed. When Chris and I went in, he found Weeds and Mary, but I went all the way to the front of the theater, banged my head 3 times in front of all those people, and then sat down. And I bawled the entire last half hour. Just kidding. But I know if I had Crystal or Beverly next to me, I would have buried my face in their shoulder and sobbed. I know I would have. I've never been so sure as I was at that movie. May 25th, 1998. What a turn of events we have today. Mom comes home this afternoon and says she's changed her mind about the whole running away thing. That's why we were going to have to move in with Dad anyway, because she was going to run away from Steve. Since I've been so ignorant of my diary over the last month, it's going to seem as though she said she was going to do it one day and change her mind the next day. I took down my room last week and it was so depressing. And all this time I've been thinking about what I was going to lose and gain as a result of moving in with Dad. I could work in the mines and make 17 grand a year or more. Well, as of today, we are staying here. And in the last 6 hours, there have been more of these little things that have come to my mind that I have here that I would lose. And then there's my job. I mean, customer service is a real fucking thorn in the nuts. But I got my friends Marty, Issa, Nikki. Another advantage to staying, if Marty ever brings that cam, I can still use it now. Yeah, because I was gonna like borrow her video camera. That's how I made most of those Georgia videos that I have set as my alerts now, so yeah. June 1st, 1998, and so I know. I missed something really good while I was back in my room yesterday. The rest of the gang went to Beverly's house and witnessed her sister hit her. So they called the cops on her and got her arrested. They say she was rather crazy about it, like while she was being escorted to the cop car, she was shouting, "You're all going to jail." Anyway, Frankie, Beverly's dad, had to go bail his little girl out, and now he's mad at us for costing him so much money. According to Weeds, Frankie came pulling up, and when he saw the cop cars, rather than ask them what was going on, he went straight to Beverly and yelled at her, "What did you do this time?" What a duff. We were sitting out on the dock talking about a safe house in Athens where Beverly could spend the night and her parents couldn't get to her. I guess she couldn't stay with us because her parents knew where we lived or whatever. I made up this really simple song on my guitar that Chris absolutely loved, and I was playing that as we talked. Finally, we got up, and Steve was like, "Okay, everybody hug Beverly." So one by one, she went around. I was trying to get rid of the guitar so I'd be ready. Well, finally, I got it balanced, and as I turned around and looked towards her, she said my name, and then we just moved into each other and held each other for 2 to 3 seconds. I reached up her head and rubbed it a tiny bit during this time. I guess that's the first time they've seen us hug for real. I gotta tell you, that was the best hug we've had yet. Well, on the way to the safe house, we stopped at Taco Bell, and while we were standing in line, when Chris moved away, I put my arm around her and just, sat there. I tried to say it'll be okay, but as I was saying it, I thought about how utterly sick she must have been of hearing it, and I started going insane. I don't even remember what I said or did. I think I laughed. Anyway, we finally got to the safe house, and they let her stay just for one night, so Brian's gonna see if his parents won't let her stay at their place. So finally, we got home, and I got to bed this morning at 4 o'clock. Chris and Brian were still awake. Last night, apparently, they heard voices outside saying, "Nice doggy, haha." They saw fresh tire tracks on the driveway, and, that's it. I don't know, are we assuming that was Beverly's parents trying to sneak up to our house or something? I don't know. Well, I got lucky ayer, that pic I got of Brandy. Well, I got to use up the rest of the film taking pics of a 35-pound catfish Steve caught, and we had him done with 1 hour processing. Also, the guy there says I should water down the ketchup. It looks more like blood that way. Yeah, because those pictures I took of ketchup on a knife. June 13th, 1998. Ever since I got web TV, I haven't spent any time doing anything. On the other hand, I've spent a lot less time doing nothing. Anyway, I thought I should tell you a bit about Bev. See, really? You're gonna talk about Beverly? Well, that's new. Holy crap, I can't wait to hear this. See, the other day, Jason interrupted a conversation I was having on the net with this group. We were guessing movie lines. Anyway, Jason jumps in and starts harassing this 34-year-old lady called Tiber Mom. See, this is already boring. I hate this, man. And anyway, he was also harassing this girl named Pretty Chick. And he was doing it under my name, so it's like, oh, that's not cool. Because I was logged in, he just got on and started typing. Anyway, she got pissed off at him saying, "I'll talk to Flame later." Flame is me. Jason asks me later why I don't hook up with Beverly, and I told him I didn't think it was what she wanted. Anyway, I emailed her to warn her and also told her congrats on her graduation and I love her and all this crap. Actually, I was saying one thing that hasn't changed is my love for you, and at the end I said, I hope your future is bright enough that you don't outshine it. See, this is what I'm talking about. This is why I'm so cringeworthy. So anyway, Auntie Ayer, that's the day before yesterday, we were having another one of our big conversations, and Beverly said I was the only one she'd never been mad at before. The day before yesterday was kind of like that. Me and Bev went to her house and we played with her cat in her front yard. Grass itches. Anyway, on the way home, she put the top down and we both stood up and screamed the lyrics to Basket Case Into the Night. What a thrill. I didn't have any shoes on half the time, so at the mall, I snooped around in her car when she went in to get the string. A lot of the letters I wrote her were in the door side pocket of her car. How charming. So this morning, she and Matt and Chris and Scott came by to say hey, and then Brian comes by later. Everybody's dumping Brian now for things. David, Jason's dad, is really mad about my wreck and an incident where Brian called Jason's mom a bitch. Yesterday, Mom went off on Jason. I don't know why. Jason started a hypothesis about something going on between Mom and Brian, and although the evidence is not easily dismissed, I don't think Mom would do that. Well, bye. My God. June 19th, 1998. That's it. I finally had it. You knew it was only a matter of time before I reached my breaking point. Well, baby, I'm there. This job has got me being used left and right, taken advantage of, pushed around, and I am through with it. The problem is not so much the customers anymore, it's Marty. I mean, she is really nice and all. Mom knows how sweet she is, but Mom has no idea what she's putting me through, always leaving me here by myself. It started around April or early May when her daughter would come by at about 9 o'clock and they'd talk for 20 minutes while I continued working. Sometimes she would take off with her daughter and not come back for the rest of the day. 2 Fridays in a row she did that, and by the 3rd week I was beginning to wonder if she could ever make it through a week without leaving. The following week was when this crap started, where she'd go to borrow flour from store number 15 and she'd be gone for 2 hours. The next week, she just on Friday, up and left around 9 o'clock, just picks up that purse and says, I gotta go, buddy, I'll be back in a couple of hours, and poof, she's gone. Saturday, she was gonna come in at 8:30 or 9, which was okay by me, because it doesn't get busy till 8, and it wouldn't be too bad. Well, she finally shows up around 9:45 or 10, drops off some flour, and walks right back out the door. Then she comes back around 11:30 and stays. Well, this week Thursday comes along and everything's fine until suddenly she has to leave at 8:30, all too predictably. And today, the next day, nobody's seen or heard from her. And I'm here all by myself once again. And I'm here to tell you I am through with it. From now on, I'm looking for something else. A job where either I always work by myself doing one man's work, or I'm on a team with like 5 other people. I'm sick of this. The least she could have done is call in and tell me she was gonna conk out again. I'm sick of running this fucking thing by my fucking self. I've been working this thing for 2.5 years and I haven't missed a damn day. When my teeth gave me hell, I still came in and endured. When I had colds, allergies, or even the flu, I came in because there was no one else. There'll never be anyone else. I'm probably the only GP deli worker they can actually count on, because through all the deli managers we've had, only 1 or 2 know how to come in when they're supposed to. She says she's gonna fire Issa because he doesn't do anything besides stand there and make biscuits. Of course, to some autistic person like me, that's eliminating 75% of the stress of it, but not to her, I guess. Still, though, she's pouting about how Issa doesn't do nothing. Well, take a look at her. Let's see. Comes in at 5:30 or so, socializes with Joe and Shirley, comes over, makes a few biscuits, goes back to the office, socializes with Shirley some more, takes bacon out of the oven, dumps greasy pan in clean dishwater, goes and does some customers, socializes with Susan, cleans out kitchen case, goes into office and smokes one. Anyway, you get the idea. Poops. Okay, I'm tired. Bye. P.S. Vantage Press responded and may publish my book, and if I send it in, it may require an investment, though. So I'm in bed at 11:30 last night, and I hear Mom in the kitchen throwing things around. Well, I heard her bang something as she said, "You just go on to Milledgeville." This again, she didn't want me to move out, I guess. But what bothers me is how everybody's saying they're pissed off at Mom, saying it's her fault, saying she brings it on herself. Now, I'll admit sometimes I think she has an attitude problem, like when she groaned at my mention of Beverly when all I said was that she let me have some Nintendo games, including RC Pro-Am. But still, she is nowhere near as bad as Steve just because she reacts a little negatively to all the stress-inducing shit in her life. She has no money because somehow he gets it all, whether it's having a conference with the ATM machine or holding her on the phone when she's obviously trying to do something else. You should hear her side of the conversation when she's on the phone with him. It's like, yeah, what's up? Uh-huh. Oh no. Well, anyway. Uh-huh. I know. Okay. Alright, can I get off now? Okay. 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 Alright, can I get off now? I'm trying to mop. Okay. Alright. Listen, I really gotta go. Leans toward phone base to hang up. What? Stands back up straight. Steve, can we just... Another frustrated sigh. Can we talk about it later? Okay. Alright. Bye. I love you too. Bye. Hangs up, puts hands over face, and moans, what am I gonna do about him? I swear to you, I am not making this shit up. Every time he calls, it's like that, because there's always some favor he's gotta go ask, or he's calling just to see how the bills are coming, so he'll know how much money he can have, or calling to say he's pissed off at his brothers, or that he's gonna quit. They do have a point that he doesn't intentionally hurt her, but he is so ignorant of her feelings. I mean, Beverly was telling him they might ask him if he noticed any signs of stress in his wife, and he said he would answer no. You mean he can't tell she's stressed? That's what I'm talking about. July 10th, 1998. Nothing to me, nothing to me, nothing to me, no more. I love Fastball. What can I say? I'm in love with the band. Okay, so last night me and Matt and Chris and Beverly went to Bev's house with, well, first it was just me and Beverly, and we rented Clay Fighters and Jeopardy. We went up on the internet looking up codes for Clay Fighters, which was about the most boring thing we've ever done together. Finally, we went to Jeopardy, and that was somewhat fun. Actually, it was very fun, but there's too much history and geography and shit. So later we came back with another controller and Chris and Matt. Well, Beth saw Chris. She about went ballistic. Oh, Beth is Beverly's sister, by the way. You could hear shouting and rumbling upstairs. Farting. What? Farting. Finally, her dad came down and said Chris had to leave, and Chris said, it's pretty sad when the oldest daughter runs the household. Dad lost it. Mom came down trying to calm Dad down. She was calling him Woody. Anyway, finally we got out. No, we just intended to stay there, but Beth kept saying whoever's Jeep it was, they needed to move it. Oh well, we all went outside eventually. I didn't move the Jeep, and Beth came out, and when she passed Chris, he was like, how are you doing? Real sweetly. She said the smartest thing you can do right now is stay the fuck away from me, and they just got into it. Beth will have to pay for her actions sometime. Beverly said she couldn't go home, so she slept last night out in the church in her car. She said she was coming by here this morning to get me and just hang out, but I haven't heard from her. I did hear the phone ring this morning, though, so I think I'll go check and see if that was her. I hope she's okay. Wow. Yeah, like, there was, I didn't see in any of these journals, I didn't talk about this, but there was one day that Chris and a whole bunch of us, like, got together with Beverly's parents to just go talk about it, and they went to a church somewhere, and I had one of those dogs in the seat with me in the car, and they told me to stay in the car. They didn't want me to be part of the conversation, I assume because they thought I would go off on her parents or lose my temper or try to attack them or something, because they knew how I felt about it. I was very upset about it, and so I guess that's why they didn't want me in there, but man, what I wouldn't give to know what they said in there. So, like, I was outside sitting in the car with that little dog, and I was listening to Natalie Imbruglia's CD. It was on the 4th song on the CD. It's called Leave Me Alone, and every time I hear that song now, I think about that little puppy. Man, okay, so I don't have a date on this next one, and I assume it's just sometime later in July. I mean, if you were to score adults, those over 30, on the percentage of time they spend actually acting like a kid, Dad's the only one I know who makes a 50, and maybe Deborah, and Tommy, and the guy who calls me Wild Man. Mom's maybe, well, she does act like a kid a lot, but she's never been happy enough to be one. And now she and Steve are running around behind these pretty masks with all this medication. It's not that I don't like the way they're acting, but it's sad that God didn't want them that way, and they had to go through science to find happiness. If happiness is truly based on chemicals, I mean, what if they found out love was based on chemicals too? I mean, what if they actually could make a love potion? You can give me all the crap you want about chemicals in the brain causing certain sensations, but I'm here to tell you that's not all there is to it. Crying is like a magic spell. When I cried at E.T., sure, maybe it's chemicals that made the tears come out of my eyes. Maybe it was chemicals that caused me to tremble. But it was not chemicals that made me cry. It was the movie. It was love. It was magic, and I believe in it. To me, that is the way to get in touch with God. Nothing like that ever happened to me in church. Love impresses me more than the parting of the Red Sea ever will. I can see all the miracles in the book, but without love, I have no reason to exist. Okay. September 22nd, and it was 90 degrees a minute ago. What's up with that? Anyway, I smoked me a cigarette today. Oh god, my first cigarette. This one was a Winston, and for the first time I actually felt the head rush. I guess because I finally got to where I could inhale the stuff without coughing. And still, it was only a little bit at a time. The head rush wasn't really all that. I didn't fall down like I would have liked, but I did get just a wee bit, floaty. Don't get me wrong, I'm not going to start smoking or anything, I just smoke to study the results. Yeah, of course. And I would like to see if I can't knock myself out even further. No further addiction is planned, I just want to see how good it is. But you know me, I would never smoke around other people, I don't do that, I don't have that kind of nerve. September 27th, 1998. If words could describe it, believe me, I would find them eventually. It's like, every time I write an entry in here that I feel like I'm making the discovery of the century, I describe everything in perfect detail and create a masterpiece worthy of worldwide publication. Then I go back and read these diaries and it's like, where's all the good stuff? Well, me and Mom were sitting in here playing Riddick, and we heard this rapping at the window, and it was Bev, sure enough, reminding me we were going to Vigilantes of Love. I went and told Mom, and she gave me $20, hooray, which was good, because I only had $3 at the time. Anyway, Chris and Matt were in one of their uncaring moods, which drove Bev to the edge. Well, when we got there, we began this long walk to the place. It wasn't the 40 watt. Well, we picked up some flagpole magazines, boring as usual. I kept trying to keep my nose in it, but Bev was looking very upset, and she kept veering really close to me, almost like she wanted me to hug her. Finally, I folded it in fours and tossed it in the trash can. Just after that, Bev stopped behind me. I turned around in time to hear her say, "Darius, I can't take this anymore," and she broke down in tears. I did the only thing any kind of human would, and I took her into my arms. Right now, I couldn't tell you how long we held each other, but she gave herself to me in that hug. She had both of her hands on me, rubbing me, and I rubbed her as well. I guess we probably held each other for 15 or 20 seconds. Anyway, she cried, and she cried some more. Well, I think I made a mention of this night in the other journals, the 2000s. I don't guess it ever really hit me that this had been a long-time fantasy of mine to hold a crying girl in my arms and comfort her. I guess the only condition that wasn't met about that hug was that it had to be a girl I loved. Oh. Anyway, we got to the Vigilantes of Love concert, but we spent almost as much time just walking the streets together as we did watching Vigilantes of Love. Before we actually got to the concert, we were walking side by side, and she was on my left, and I put my arm around her, and she just leaned into me and gave me some real obvious rubs on my right side. We took several steps like this with our arms around each other. For the first time in my life, I walked along the streets downtown, arm in arm with a girl. I felt so complete. I felt like part of the group. I felt like part of the world. People saw the two of us, they didn't know any better. It was me and her, two people who desperately needed each other. One for emotional comfort and one to feel like part of the world. We may never do that again, but my entire life has changed now that someone on this planet has seen the love I have to give. It's something I long to show everybody, but a painter has to have a canvas to make paintings. I, for just a second, was able to show my painting to the world. No one will ever know how happy that has made me. Jeez, dude. That was weirdly beautiful. September 29th, well, hello, I had to go on and tell you about this. I guess Independence Day was not the best movie to watch while writing this. I mean, I've only gotten 2 lines in, and I just now watched that funny fender bender. Okay, well, I called up Beverly last night and got her to come see Rush Hour with me, and she came. We met outside the mall at 6:30, and I gave her one of those sideways hugs as we started for the outside theater. Anyway, the movie was very good. That's so weird, though. Rush Hour? Like, if you had asked me last week if I'd ever seen Rush Hour, I would have said no, because I don't remember this movie at all. Anyway, the movie was very good. Me and Beverly were like the only ones talking in the whole theater. We noticed how movies seem to have boring titles lately. One was like Soldier, and the next one was The Siege. Beverly had just gotten a job at KB Toys, and she had to be there at 9 o'clock, and the movie started at 7, so it was a close call, but it was all good. I walked her back to the mall because I had to pee. We split up at the arcade. She went left to KB Toys, and I went right to the bathroom. Well, after enough distance, I took one last look at her, and she was looking back, too. For some reason, I grabbed Lisa Loeb out of Mary's room last night, and I've been listening to the song Hurricane lately, constantly. October 5th, 1998. Well, here I sit in my room waiting for Mom to finish up at Ridiculist. That's a game that we played on Web TV. We're listening to Fastball. It's on slow drag. I really love this song the more I hear it. I got DC Talk's new album the other day. Now that rocks! I also kicked major butt on Quest 64. I rented it. It's not such a bad game. That would be worth buying when people start selling it for like $30. Well, I haven't talked to Dev in a while, but I got to take Mary to the mall to spend her first paycheck yesterday, and we had the best time. I stopped by KB Toys just in case. Didn't see Beverly, but the aura was there, you know. So I just said hi and I miss you. The handle on the escalator had come off, leaving a farting noise pollution that could be heard for miles. Bye. That one was nice and short. October 14th, 1998. Well, I got to change the left fryer before I leave, so doggone it, I gotta take off my cute flannel shirt. Well, really, I only have one thing I was gonna write about today, and that is Mom's web TV obsession. I knew the risks when I first let her in to do it, but all I can say about the last week is I hope this is where her interest peaks. This morning when my alarm rang at 2:30 a.m., I went to put my feet on the floor and almost kicked her in the face. Because there she was on my floor at 2:30 in the morning in my bedroom playing on the thing. Really, I think the first time I really, honest to God, wanted her out of there was last Sunday. She said she had told Overhe, this guy on the internet, that she would meet him at 1 o'clock that afternoon. Well, she gets in there, and I kid you not, she stayed on that thing until 9:30 that night. Anyway, that day I start getting sleepy about 4 or 5 in the afternoon, so I doze off. Well, I didn't get up until the next morning at 8, but I think that might be in part due to the fact the TV was turned up, and every single time she sends an email, the music I programmed to play on her email came blaring out, "We've only just begun!" And she must have done it 5 times. Well, Tuesday came around, and it was no surprise when she got home to see her straight on the thing, where she pretty much spent the whole evening until bowling, thank God. Still, Steve got kind of mad and started saying, all you want to do is sit in there and play that stupid game. You don't want to spend time with us. You don't want to cook, etc. Here's the weird part, though. I would almost swear I heard Mom say, I think it was Tuesday morning, she said something that sounded like he proposed to me. October 15th, the next day, Thursday. Well, let's see, what did I say yesterday? Could it have gotten any worse? Well, let's just say I slept on the couch last night. That's how it had to be. Actually, let's start at the beginning. Yesterday, I left work and hurried home to enjoy my quick 3 hours of webbing before it all started. Well, I get home and she was already there, and she was on the thing, just waiting for him to enter the room. She waited for about 1 to 1.5 hours. So anyways, when I finally got on, I found out Rain has cancer. Oh, I didn't want to read any of these, honestly, these ones about Rain, because the whole thing was just so stupid. Rain was a girl I met on the net who lied about having cancer, and, wait, where have we heard this story recently? Well, Mom's bugging me to hurry up and go get some AAA batteries for the keyboard. I guess I should go now, huh? Also to get beer. Wonderful. I haven't even finished talking about yesterday. Okay, so she was here and playing when I got home from work yesterday. After drawing on the driveway for a while, I went in to chat and surf, but Mom said they were meeting again at 11 o'clock that night, which pretty much brought on a suggestion for me to sleep on the couch. So I did. At 6:30 this morning, I went to reclaim my bed, and the light leaked out through the gap between my door and the floor. She was still in there. I don't know if they talked all night or what. Supposedly, this guy went and saw a lawyer. If they were planning on meeting, I hope he comes here. Mary didn't even know I was on the couch, so she was sitting in the kitchen, and I go, did you exchange brains as well? Like Pollux Troy on Face Off. We've been imitating Pollux lately. I'm glad I got her noticing that man's speech. Okay, well, last night we had fish, but they wanted me to go out and buy them some cigarettes out of my money because they were out. Some son investing money in his mom's destruction. So anyway, I finally get back, come to find out we're out of mayonnaise. So I go all the way back out there, only to come home and find out I picked up the wrong kind. It was some fat-free. It had a sweet taste to it. Nasty. Okay, so what else did we do? We went to Best Buy, where I got Mary a phone card and I'll Be Edwin McCain's Smash single. I didn't get anything for myself because there just wasn't nothing. I got Duncan Sheik and DC Talk. Now I'm just waiting on Zelda 64. And sometime I plan to get a PlayStation so I can play Final Fantasy 7. It's funny to hear myself talk about this back when it was, like, new and everything. I started to rent one yesterday, but I changed my mind and got some N64 game instead. Iggy's Racing or something. It's pretty rad. So I heard this game come up recently on Twitter as, like, almost like a meme or something. And I had no memory whatsoever of playing that game, so it shocks me that this is in here. Like, I'm assuming he got the title wrong, because it's not actually Iggy's Racing, it's something else, but man, the thermometer outside says 82 degrees. That is sorry-ass weather for October. And the last half of October, we are supposed to have partly cloudy and a 20% chance of rain tomorrow. Well, all I can say is bring it on. Let's lock this up till doomsday. Stupid sunshine. Uh-oh. Another pot belly. Well, he was nice. November 12th, 1998. Here I am at work. 2 more days of this bullshit and I am out of here. I'm moving to Wisconsin with Mary, and that's final. I'm through with these customers, I'm through with the vats, I'm through with country music, I'm through with Steve, I'm through with that car, I'm through with people just so happening to go over to where I am writing and see it there, I'm through with rednecks, I'm through with that Hunters special, I'm through with hunters, I'm through with this hot weather, I'm through with myself. This is a shot at a new beginning. Last night Rain dumped me, so I've been upset all day. I'm not reading the rest of that. Fuck that, man. Know about that shit. Yeah, man, much as I hate to say it, I think I want to stop it there, actually, before we move to Wisconsin, because that's a whole different chapter of my life, and I don't want to get, like, 2 entries into that chapter. It has taken me over 2 hours to read all these, but they're having a lot of pauses, and me stopping to take a break or take a drink or whatever, so a lot of that will get cut out, but I don't think it's going to take off however much I need to take off to get this down to the length of this video, so I don't know. Anyway, y'all, thanks for listening, and I will see you here on the next video, whatever it happens to be. See you later.